This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Strip Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, December the 27th, is a Canadian tennis icon. We don't see many of those from the Great White North and all that. You're thinking about Daniel Nestor, among others, and Frank Dancevic, but no, this guy is huge. This guy was ranked as high as number 3 in the world, which he did that in 2016, and was the first Canadian man in the Open era to make the Australian Open semifinals, the French Open quarterfinals, and the Wimbledon final. So practically getting to the quarterfinals in 3 of the 4 majors. I don't think a Canadian male has done that in the U.S. Open. He's won 8 ATP titles. He made a Cinderella run in 2011, which I'll talk about in the Australian Open. One of the best servers in the Open era, 91% of service games, and having one of the hardest serves of all time. He's good on the hard court. His name is Milos Raonic. He's 33 years old today. He was born in Montenegro before it separated from Yugoslavia, and of Serbian heritage. Prompted by the breakup of Yugoslavia, his family moved to Canada in '94 when he was 3, settling in Brampton. His parents were engineers. His father holds a PhD in electrical engineering. His mother has a degree in mechanical and computer engineering. He has 2 older siblings who are way older than him. Raonic has an uncle who actually was Deputy Prime Minister of Montenegro, and Raonic is fluent in Serbian and English. He would go through a tennis camp in Brampton and had potential. So anyway, he liked everything. Raonic would work with a coach twice a day, almost every day for the next 9 years. And, he did all that. His parents and siblings supported his tennis and did not push him or interfere with his coaching, so practically they let him go. They emphasized school without. But Raonic did do pretty well for himself. And by the time he was 16 in 2007, he went to the new National Tennis Center in Montreal to train more. Anyway, it was huge and all that. His amateur career, he first completed a sanctioned event in 2003 at the age of 12. But at 14, he finally picked up a singles victory and all that. He would win a doubles title with Vasek Pospisil, not in the ATP, but like the juniors and all that. They were doing quite well at each other. Raonic did okay and all that in the junior Grand Slams. He did decent and all that. He had several scholarship offers to attend colleges playing tennis. Michigan, Princeton, and Northwestern gave him a chance. But Raonic committed to play for the University of Virginia to study finance and play for them. But 2 weeks later, he wanted to turn professional and all that. He could do a professional tennis career and then do correspondence courses of finances from Athabasca University. So anyway, he turned down those scholarships. In the early days, he wasn't really much of a player. He got a few wild cards and all that in the Canadian Open. It was huge and all that. So anyway, it was just huge and all that. Raonic's first Grand Slam was in 2010. Grand Slam tournament. It was 2010 at the U.S. Open. He qualified for the main draw, but lost to Carson Ball. So anyway, it was huge and all that. He got up to number 155. But by February, he qualified he got to number 37, the highest Canadian male ever. So anyway, Milos Raonic had to qualify in the Australian Open. He took care of David Govan, who was going to be a good player from Belgium. He would beat Nikola Mekitic from Croatia and Andrej Martin from Slovakia to get into the main draw. And in the main draw, as a qualifier, he beat a German foe in 3 sets. He faced number 22 seed Michael Lodra and beat him in 3 straight sets. Then he would face the number 10 seed Miguel Yushny from Russia and somehow won in 4 sets. Raonic would then fall in the 4th round, or the round of 16, to David Ferrer, the 7th seed from Spain, in 4 sets. But he made a magical run that few people saw coming. That's huge. When he got to the 4th round, it marked the first time since Marcelo Filippi in 1999 for the French Open that a qualifier went to the 4th round. Of course, this is 2011. A lot of people thought Raonic was a good superstar and all that, and won the 2008 Connecticut Open, an ATP title. Oh, sorry, the Pacific Coast Championship, making him the first Canadian since Greg Rusedski before turning turncoat and going to be a British citizen in 1985 to win a tournament. So, anyway. But thankfully, because of his ranking, he would get direct entry to Grand Slam tournaments. All that. He was seeded at the French Open, but lost to Michael Berger. So anyway, he would have to have hip surgery. His rise was huge by 2012 and all that. Got to the quarterfinals of the Canadian Open, but lost to John Isner, who also had a good serve too. At the US Open, Raonic fell in the 4th round to Andy Murray, making him the first Canadian since Martin Lundro in 1988 to reach the 4th round of the US Open. Raonic got to be number 13, and by 2013 he did quite well. He reached the 4th round of the Australian Open in 2013, losing to Federer. In the 3rd round, he lost to Kevin Anderson. At Wimbledon, he lost in the 2nd round to Igor Sijsling. In the US Open, he fell in the 4th round to Richard Gasquet, despite 39 aces. Well, anyway. Raonic went to the Canadian Open semifinals facing Pospisil. It was Battle Canada, and Raonic won. But Nadal crushed him in 68 minutes. But Raonic was the first Canadian-born player and the first player born in the 1990s to reach the top 10. Anyway. He would try to improve himself. And all of that. Raonic was given a top 8 seed at the French Open. And he got to the quarterfinals, taking care of Nick Kyrgios, Yuri Fleshny, Gilles Simon, and Marcel Greniers, making him the first Canadian to make a quarterfinal of a major, but lost to Djokovic in straight sets. Raonic was number 8 at Wimbledon and got to the semifinals by taking down Matthew Upton, Jack Sock, Lucas Kubot, Kei Nishikori, and Nick Kyrgios. Became the first Canadian man since 1908 to reach the semis at any of the majors. But Federer took care of Raonic in the semifinals. But his world ranking got up to number 6. At the US Open, Raonic lost a 4-hour, 19-minute match in the round of 16 to Kei Nishikori, which would have got him to the quarterfinals. Anyway, he got to the year-end tournament of the ATP, but lost 2 matches and got injured. By 2016, it was like hard to believe. He got to the quarters of the Australian Open, but lost to Djokovic in straight sets. Anyway, Raonic had problems and all that. However, 2016 would be a whole lot different for him. He actually shocked number 4 seed Stan Wawrinka in 5 sets. He beat Gael Monfils in the quarterfinals to make the semifinals, becoming the first Canadian man to do so. He was up 2-1 on Andy Murray, but somehow lost. And then he had an abductor injury and all that. Kept him out of competition for 6 weeks. At the French Open, he was the 8th seed, but fell to Albert Ramos Manolas in the 4th round. Anyway, at Wimbledon, Raonic looked pretty good against Carreño Busta, Andre Seppi, and Jack Sock. In the 4th round against Goffin, he was down 2-0, but he beat Goffin. And then in the quarters, he beat Sam Querrey, and then shockingly beat Federer in the semifinals, which meant that Federer, for the first time in his career, lost a Wimbledon semi, because the other 10 times he instantly got to the final. Raonic couldn't believe his luck. But Andy Murray did crush him in straight sets and give Great Britain a Wimbledon title for the first time since 1936. So it is what it is. And that was the second time Murray won a title. In the 5th round, Raonic got hurt and had to miss time. He got to the ATP World Tour Finals and got to the semifinal, losing to Murray in 3 hours 38 minutes. Raonic then got to be number 3 behind Murray and Djokovic, and had a Federer, which was pretty impressive. Unfortunately, injuries would plague him past 2016. He did get to the top 20, got to the Australian Open quarterfinal in 2019 and 2020. On 2019, he lost to Lucas Peel in a shocker. In 2020, he got to the quarterfinal, lost to Novak. So anyway, he tried his best. After 2 years of comeback, he came back in 2023. Went to the Libima Open, won his first match. At Wimbledon, he beat Denis Novak to win his first match at a major in 2 years, but lost to Tommy Paul. He got close to the top 500. Anyway, Raonic tried his best, but couldn't do it. You know that. But early in his career, Raonic was questioned whether he would join Greg Berussetsky in denouncing his Canadian citizenship to go represent another country instead, but Raonic said he would play for Canada. Well, why not? Montenegro's got some good tennis players. You might as well try to be different for Canada. It was part of the 2013 Davis Cup group that shocked Spain and Italy to getting to the Davis Cup semifinals for the first time since 1913 for 100 years. Unfortunately, Canada lost to Serbia. All that. So he's known for his playing style, his big serve. He's 6'5", so I think that height's gone well. He's 9-36 against the Big Four. 0-11 against Djokovic, 2-7 against Nadal, 3-11 against Federer, and 4-9 against Murray. This is huge and all that. Raonic would have rivalry with Pospisil for Canadian pride. All that. For Grand Slams, he didn't do so badly and all that. He got to the semifinal in 2016 in the Australian Open, quarterfinal in 2014, Wimbledon final 2016, but US Open, he never got to the quarterfinals at the very least. So yeah, 1 Grand Slam final. He did win 3 straight Pacific Coast Championships, which actually shares the record with Kei Nishikori. And he holds the Olympic record for most games played in a set. In the third set, he had to face Joe Willie Songa, and there was no tiebreaker, and he lost 25-23. At the U.S. Open, the latest finish for match 2:26 a.m. against Nishikori, which he lost, and then the longest match in World Tour Finals history in 2016 when he lost in 3 hours 38 minutes. Many awards such as Newcomer of the Year, and people love Milos. Canada did too. Just wish he won a Grand Slam title, but that's wishful thinking. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond.